Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are making scones. Scones, the American scones, not the British scones. British scone is a little bit different compared to American scones. British scones look more like American biscuits. But anyhow, this is the basis of any type of scone that you're going to make. And we only need a few ingredients. Here we go. So we'll start with a scale. We're just going to weigh all our ingredients. It's much more accurate to weigh your ingredients. Then we zero this and we start with 300 grams of all-purpose flour. Then we add 2¼ teaspoon of baking powder, a quarter teaspoon of Himalayan salt or any salt of your choice. And then we mix them together. If you're using sugar, this is probably when you will add about 50 grams of sugar, but I'm not using sugar, I'm using 50 grams of agave. We're gonna need about 80 grams of unsalted butter that is really chilled. We're gonna need, today I'm making pecan and blueberry scones. So I have half a cup of pecan and 1 cup of fresh blueberry and 1 cup of heavy cream, heavy whipping cream, and a dash of vanilla. In order to get your butter to the right consistency, you want to really chop the butter and make sure that the butter is completely cold and frozen. So the best way to prep your butter is to just chop it into small pieces. I have chopped most of this. I'm going to put the butter and the whipped cream back in the fridge while I prepare the rest. We want all of that to be cold. So I'm going to start by chopping the pecans, and then you want to chop them thinly. You could chop it or you could use the rolling pin and just roll over them. All right, we have finished chopping the pecan, and now we are about to combine all the ingredients together. We'll start by first adding the pecan with the dry ingredients, and then we'll add the fresh blueberries. We'll mix them together. Be careful not to break your blueberries. We proceeded in adding 1 large egg with its yolk and all the other wet ingredients, which is 50 grams of agave. Then the chilled butter that we diced into smaller pieces. It is very, very important that your butter is chilled so that it does not melt during the combination. You want the butter to remain really hard when it's baked, so that try and get most of the flour combined with the butter. In order to get my butter harder, I actually, after chopping them, I place them in the freezer to chill them some more. You want that buttery taste. Then I add a dash of vanilla extract, and finally I combine the 1 cup of whipped cream. What you want to do at this point is to just combine all the ingredients together. Again, being careful not to break your blueberries. You just need to combine them enough to form a shag consistent. You can see the combination of the blueberry, the pecan, all together. You're not gonna form a perfect dough. You're gonna have some flour at the bottom of the bowl, which is fine. This is perfectly fine. And then at this point, we're just going to pour this out onto our countertop so that we can actually mold it. If you have some flour on the counter, that is perfectly okay. We then use our bench scraper to get all of the batter off of the spatula, and then we'll start to mold by hand. You want to mold this into like a 7 to 8 inches wide and about 1.5 to 2 inches high. Do not worry, all the flour, all the loose flours will eventually just combine. Yeah, and you want to do this pretty quickly so that the butter does not melt. You really do want the butter to remain cold and stay incorporated into that dough. This looks pretty good. So now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a staging station where we place a parchment paper. Then we're going to cut our batter into half first. Then we'll cut it into quarters. And then we'll cut the quarters into an eighth. If your bench scraper is catching, be sure to add more flour just so that you don't loosen them up. And then we place them in the baking sheet carefully. We are not going to bake it right away. We are going to first place them in the freezer for a minimum of 20 minutes before we can bake them, because again, we want that butter to remain solid, the butter to melt before we bake them. It is very, very crucial because that's what gives it that fluffy, soft, and nice consistent. Look at that pecan, butter, and blueberry layer. Amazing. Now we're going to place them in the freezer. After 20-25 minutes in the freezer, we then wash it with a cream just on the top. And this makes it more creamier. It protects it. Just before cream washing it, you can add, if you prefer, you can add some sugar granules or erythritol granule in a powder on top. Or if you prefer to glaze it, you can do the glaze later. But this look absolutely gorgeous. You just want to put in a brush the cream on top, not on the sides, just on top. It also helps smoothen the top and help it to brown well once you put it in the oven. You can also wash it with regular milk. I just chose to use the cream. It gives it a little bit more texture. I am going to put some erythritol granules on top, and I'm going to add another layer of heavy cream on top. This helps keep them moist. I use erythritol because erythritol has 0 calories and 0 glycemic index. I'm not diabetic, but if you're diabetic, those are some of the things you could use. Now we are going to place this in the oven, which has already been preheated at 400 degrees, and we're going to bake it for about 10 to 12 minutes, or at least until it is golden brown on the outside and at the bottom. Here we go. Our oven timer has gone off, so let's go check our scones. They smell really, really great and delicious. So let's see. My goodness, look at that. Look at how the butter is sizzling. We are just going to leave it to cool down, and then we'll get back to it. The scones have cooled down. They smell amazing, and we are just going to taste it. Look at that. Look at all that blueberry and pecan, and it feels nice and moist and fluffy. Of course, the butter gives it that fluffiness and softness. And now the taste test. Oh my God, this is so tasty. You can taste the fresh blueberry. You can taste the pecans. And of course, is sweet, moist. The butter, you can taste the homemade fresh butter, nice and fluffy. And look at that. Very moist and not hard at all. very, very crumbly. Unlike the ones that you buy in the stores that are so hard and or they taste good, but they taste stale most of the time as if they've been there forever. You can make this in advance. You can freeze them and then just take them out and bake them. You may have to bake them a little bit longer because they're frozen, but they store well in the freezer. Now I'm going to try with some cream cheese that I made previously. I mean, look at how crumbly those are. Mm. That was almond cream cheese with this and a little bit of jam. Oh my God, this is so great. Give me a moment. Let me just eat all of this. This is so good. Okay, let's just get back because I could, really, with a cup of coffee, this is heaven. Anyhow, if this video has been of value to you, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. This is Dr. Okeke. Thank you.